Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Jack and Dominic podcast. My name is Dominic Dean, and to my right, I got my friend Jack Chrissy. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing all right today. How you doing?
Can't complain, can't complain. It's a day away till I head up to Rhode Island, and I'm a bit excited.
What are you doing up in Rhode Island?
I'm gonna be doing a bunch of things. Gonna probably be doing some cocaine, some marijuana. Probably get invested into a liquor gangbang. We'll
Oh
see how
yeah.
that goes. Yeah.
What does that all entail?
That entails a whore dressing up as a schoolgirl and coming over and getting railed by three dudes who are hammered.
Wow, sounds like a classic American time right there.
You could call us gentlemen. You could say that.
What is this? Clockwork Orange?
What's Clockwork Orange?
Movie?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
So you got the cocaine, huh?
Not yet. We're working on that.
Sorry.
It's been a while, man. I haven't done cocaine in a little bit.
Me neither, actually.
Yeah. Good old times, good old times.
And you got the reefer?
I'm working on that too. It's all planned out. I don't have it on me. I'm about to get on
Yeah.
the plane.
Oh no, I know you don't.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like you know, me. I just earlier I took 2 ibuprofen.
Oh, yeah?
Feel a little better, you know?
Yeah.
Just a little.
It's a little high, a little buzz.
For about 2 minutes, and then you forget.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
To relieve inflammation?
That's what the bottle says. I never trust the bottle.
No?
Look, unless it's a bottle of liquor or a bottle of beer, it's very simple directions.
Yeah.
Open it up, drink. But I was reading the pill bottle on ibuprofen earlier, and I'm trying to find directions, and I'm like, okay, where's the serving size? Where's the serving size? No serving size. So I take 2. And it says, reduces headache, reduces cold.
What do you
What?
feel about all those people that say legalize all drugs? What do you think of that?
Now, I've said that before.
Have you?
So in some ways, I do agree. Legalize all drugs, man. It's just not going to work like that. Just in the way things are set up. It's not all going to radically change like that. I think drugs should better, like, decriminalize all of them. Like, Portugal decriminalized all drugs.
That's right. I was going to bring that up.
Some people are like, oh, if Portugal did it, then let's do it in America. It's like, Portugal is the size of Massachusetts.
Yeah, I know. I was going to get into that too. I was going to exactly say that. But I think what they also do in Portugal is pretty neat. Is instead of they give actual like care to the addicts. You know, the people living on the street. Like they'll walk up to them and give them clean needles instead of them reusing the dirty ones. And they'll ask them if are you actually interested in getting help? Do you want it? And they can offer it to you. Then there's free clinics. I mean, America is extremely large, and that getting passed through the Congress and the Senate, it probably doesn't
Yeah.
raise a couple of good heads because, Big Pharma needs its check too, and those
Absolutely.
senators need their check too.
Senators are going to get their check. Big Pharma is going to pay those checks.
That's right.
And then big tech, big dog food, big. I've been stocking a lot of shelves at Target lately.
Yeah, it's moving in and out of that place.
Oh yeah, makes me hungry.
It does, doesn't it?
Most of the reason because I haven't been eating square meals a day.
Yeah. Dude, I used to work in a grocery store, and there's just so much food. There were times where I would work at Harris Teeter, and I was doing a job called, like, I forget what it's called, but you're just basically picking orders for other people. You're picking their grocery orders. And from time to time, if I was hungry, I would just grab, like, donuts off the shelf and just start eating them. Like, just no fucks given.
Savagely.
Yeah. And I'm working there. Nobody's questioning me because, I do my job, and I'm just, what's this? Protein drink. Get. Just throw it in the fucking basket.
You see, that's Harris Teeter though. See,
You could probably do that at Target. You think?
No,
probably not.
no.
I was a savage, so probably not.
Me, I've always been savage, but I refrain from stealing unless
good.
it's in the right, circumstance.
Yeah.
But it's like, for me, my rules have always been because of things that have happened to me. It's like, don't take from other people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take unless given to. Don't take. If you're gonna steal, go into a place where you don't go, and then leave.
Not somewhere you work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Though people do make that mistake.
hmm
I've done it, but I've never gotten caught.
I've never gotten caught either. Do you define getting caught as police?
No. Just getting caught as in someone finding out and someone using that information against me.
Yeah, you get some fucking guy with a huge beer gut and khaki pants and a belt running after you in Walmart, going,
Stop,
Lost-
citizen.
yes. Loss prevention, loss prevention. They never sound like that, though. They're always winded, out of breath. Kind of imagining like a police officer type deal.
Yeah.
You ever notice how cops are always like, in the South at least, ugly and white, older,
Always
broken,
exhausted,
Yeah.
tired, underpaid, and they know it.
but they got a gun.
Yeah. Free gun, early retirement, good benefits.
That's right. Yeah, but you got to enforce.
You do. It's a lot to give somebody a lot of power, to enforce the law. Free gun, and I can shoot you in the head.
Ooh.
Probably won't be worth it in my career end, but
Shoot me in the head?
not exactly you. I'm speaking
Yeah.
in figuratively terms,
Jesus Christ, Dominic.
Maybe some black guy's walking down the street and, maybe he's looking weird. Maybe we should run him over.
No. I'm not the one looking weird.
I don't know about that, my friend.
Yeah. I just got my hair cut.
Which is
So,
very nice, by the way.
thank you. I do look nice. I've been washing my face, trying to get away the
I can
pizza
tell, too.
grease.
It's actually working pretty well.
Yep, just need to keep doing it every day. Every hour on the hour.
Yeah. You're an oily son of a bitch?
I'm an oily motherfucker. Yeah.
I am, too.
Just in the face, really. In the crevices.
I get it on my shoulders, too. On my shoulders and my back.
Yeah.
I get it there, too. That's mostly where it is. On my face, it's not that.
What?
I mean, there's not really like any acne on my face, From time
No,
to
you're
time, I
pretty
get
good.
it on like my forehead, but that's about
Hey,
it.
you're clean. Keep the face clean.
Try to,
Me? I'm kind of used to looking like a 17-year-old hobo. So it's like,
Before the haircut you were, now you don't.
oh man, before the haircut, that mange I was getting, I wasn't maintaining it good.
Yeah, no fucks given.
No fucks given is absolutely important if you're gonna have long hair. But if you ever look at like say a guy that has long hair and is in their 20s, you have to carry yourself with it because like all the boomers are still like kind of in. It's like
That should be short.
yeah, it's 1968. You need to get it right. But
Yeah, my dad would always tell me that too. Get a haircut. Get a haircut. Until I cut my hair really short, and he'd be like, "There you go. Now you're showing some respect."
my father was the opposite. My dad would always be like, my dad always had long hair. And sometimes he had short hair. It went back and forth, but he would he would always be like, "Jack, you should get your hair long and part it in the middle." And when I was real young, I had it like that. And recently, I actually tried it out again, but I didn't like it, and I didn't want to I probably looked good with it, but I started feeling like a woman.
Really?
Not like actually like I'm a woman, feel like a woman,
Yeah.
but like other people see me from behind and they're like, "Who's this girl?"
This cute little thin girl.
Yeah. And then I start talking and they're like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know who was like that too? When a couple of years after I met him,
Who?
Jake Monroe. He used to have a really baby face and he used to have hair like down here in like the 5th grade. I remember sitting next to him one year, like on the school bus on the first day. I was like, "Who's this broad?" And he came and looked at me, and then it was Jake Monroe.
Yep, Jake Monroe.
When you got hippie parents, they don't give a fuck at a certain age. You know what I mean?
Hippie parents is a nice way to put parents that
Don't
just
give a fuck. Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Bad parents.
Yeah. Pretty much. But that term hippie is more or less considered to be a free, open-minded spirit nowadays, not just some degenerate.
Oh, I'm a free spirit. I just realized that it's free spirit. That's what they tell you when you're 18 and you don't know better. And then you turn about 21, 22, and then it's like, you're not a free spirit anymore. You're going to jail. Yeah.
There's 2 pounds of fentanyl in the trunk.
Jeez. No, that's something. That's a rabbit hole. I'll tell a story of illegal times for me. So it's like last year, I'm out doing comedy all the time. I meet this one guy, nice guy, half English, half Arab. Strange look. He used to be a junkie. He's clean anymore. He used to move the shit. That's what I got. So one day, I pick him up at his place, and the move tonight is we're gonna go to Chapel Hill and we're gonna hang out. And he's like, "Oh man, all all that up there, Jack. I need to bring something. I'm like, he's also fucking with me, but it's like I need to bring my piece. I need to bring my gun. I'm like, it's not a real gun though, is it? It's not a real gun. Because really, what I was trying to say was, don't bring your fucking gun in my car, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could at least do me that favor,
He didn't know, and I didn't push. 'Cause I was afraid,
So he did bring it or no?
Yeah, he brought it, but he memed it out, He's like, yeah, Jack, look at this. I'm like, oh, it's like, you just spray painted it black, right? And he's like, yep. And he put it away. And I pretty much told a 30-second anecdote in that little story. We went out and I tried to get into this comedy place to do a mic, but I wasn't 21. Didn't work out. So then then I bought him a burrito.
Yeah.
Or some shit. Yeah, this guy.
Was just along for the laugh, just to have someone with you?
Yeah.
That's nice.
It was mutual. He's a nice fella.
You still talk to him?
No, I haven't seen him in a while.
Huh. How come?
We just drifted apart.
How old is he? Older dude, I imagine?
Late 20s.
Huh. Late 20s. I hope he figures it out, man.
Oh, he's good now. He has a girlfriend, and she looks great.
Wink, wink.
Uh-huh. It's none of my business. People like that aren't close friends to me, it's none of my business. But my nature is to ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah, uncomfortable ones?
Yeah.
You find yourself in certain circumstances where you think you're asking a serious question. You're trying to be serious, and people are just like, dude, you're asking too much too soon.
Yeah.
That happens a lot?
You know me, all the time.
Yeah.
I like to get straight to the point with my shit.
Yeah. But you don't talk about yourself that much, though. You're very reluctant to do that,
Yeah, I am. I'm reluctant to talk about myself because of my own insecurities. And just because I'm reluctant to talk about myself just by nature, other people assume I'm like a bad person. And so I've taken that on to myself as okay, maybe I am shitty and all that. But really, it's just an illusion of the mind.
What do you mean?
Oh, you see, this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I always do. 2 steps in the right direction, and then you take 3 steps into the underbrush.
Yeah. You said something. I completely slipped my mind. I forgot what it
Did
was.
I hypnotize you?
You did, because you hypnotized me for a second. You threw me completely off course. I don't even know where we were. We were talking about something.
What?
I think it was regarding the effect of something about you asking a lot of questions that put you in weird circumstances that usually talk about someone else but not about yourself. I forget. It's not a big deal. But you want to go into the topic that we were further discussing before?
No, before that, I want to just follow up on what you said about asking uncomfortable questions. I find myself doing that just across the board, because the truth is, when you ask someone an uncomfortable question just straight up, and especially if they're a stranger, you'll get to get insight in who they are as a person in a quick moment.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm after in the end. I like insight.
Some people are fragile, Some people get really caught off guard when you ask serious questions, really into as soon as you meet them. You know what I mean? Like, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. So, what's your mother's maiden? Did
I do that to you?
No, you didn't. But I mean, I'm just exaggerating.
So, Dominic, where do you keep your pay stubs from Rosati's Pizza?
Keep them in a Red Dead Redemption 1 box. A Red Dead Redemption 1 for PS3 inside of a shoebox on my top shelf.
Yeah? Now, where exactly is that top shelf?
You go into my room, you go over my computer, and there's going to be a couple Nike boxes, and in one of them there'll be a bunch of video games from PlayStation 3. And if you look inside the Red Dead Redemption, the first one for PS3, you can find all my pay stubs and my hours and my checks.
I can find them.
You can. Anybody can if they go looking, but you'll probably get shot without my advice.
Dun, 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 pop, pop, pop.
Yeah, I kept all my fucking pay stubs for Rosati's. How'd you know that? Or why'd you just say that it's pay stubs and Rosati's?
Yeah, I just said it. I was trying to think of like some clever question to caught you off guard, but instead I'm like,
Well, you were right.
yeah. Well, you see, when you make an educated guess, you can go places. It's just people know when you make a fucking guess and you live your life on like guesses and improvisation, people are so caught off guard that they try to explain it right away.
Try to explain it right away.
Am I getting off the wagon here?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not understanding correctly.
Putting your hair up into a bun, huh?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
What are you doing there? Getting ready to leave, huh?
Not at all. We only just got started.
Yeah.
So how about that Joe Biden character, and how about him hiding in the basement? Did you see the? Did you watch the latest debate? The one between him and Joe Biden?
Didn't they only do one?
Nah, they did a second one.
Word?
Yeah,
I didn't see it, no.
pretty good.
Was it virtual?
No, it was in person.
Now, who won?
Honest opinion, Donald Trump did,
Yeah.
which doesn't really surprise you if you have half a fucking brain. But
Why do you think that?
what, the half a brain part, or the fact that he won?
Yeah, why do you think Trump won the debate? Like, I didn't see it.
Well, I mean, Joe Biden doesn't really know what he's talking about half the time. Like, Donald Trump sets it up in a sense that he can't escape. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if there's blood in the water, the shark comes and eats it, and you're not leaving. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the way Donald Trump talks, he'll just set you up. Like, even though they tried to like mute his mic, and like he just knows how to debate, he knows how to get in those few punches, and he'll say something like, "Oh, you know, your son's a crack addict. Your son's getting all this money
Yeah.
from Ukraine, and
Yeah.
you know the Moscow mayor's wife and stuff like that."
Yeah.
And, like Joe Biden just doesn't know what to do with it. I mean, like
Yeah.
he's just like a simple old like what? How
Yeah.
do you do, politician? And he's
Yeah.
going against like a real estate Mongol, like or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like kind of, I mean, plus Joe Biden like half the time doesn't really know. I mean, I say that as a joke, but you know how there's all those clips of him forgetting where he is or saying something
Oh, yeah.
stupid. You know what I mean? But like,
I was watching a lot of those, like, early in the election cycle.
yeah,
Then I just got tired of it because it's like, wait a minute, this is true. And then you turn it off.
yeah,
Joe Biden doesn't know where he is and he's lost his mind, but Trump is also losing his mind. You gotta admit.
he's just an he's just an, they're both old men. They're extremely 70-year-old men. And did they have America's most of America's interest in heart?
No.
Probably not. No.
What's America's interest?
I think, well, just speaking from my point of view, it'd probably be middle America because that's where I've been my entire life. And
Yeah.
middle America usually gets the shit end of the stick, regardless of if it's Democrats or if it's Republicans in the House, because they take money from the rich, but they take most of the money from the middle class because the middle class makes up a majority of America. So that's where all their money is, and then they funnel it down to the poor, but the poor stay poor, the rich get richer, and the middle class just stay stable. It's like if you make 100 grand in this. If you make up to 100 grand annually, you're in a certain tax bracket that's higher than if I were to make 50. And so you're going to get taxed a lot higher because of that. So at the end of the year, you might only be making 75 to 80, but if I were making 50,000, I'm probably keeping 40,000. You see how you're getting, the more money you make, the more taxes you pay.
I wonder what kind of tax bracket Donald Trump would be in.
Probably extremely high, but the thing is though, is people who have that have really good lawyers and attorneys, and they know how to find tax breaks in their income. So even though they'll make, like what I heard, for instance, speaking of just Amazon, like Amazon has like an annual profit of probably like 20 billion a year. You know what I mean? They can make that in a year. It's not their profit, but that's how much they'll make just in revenue. Now you ask that, it's like, and they paid how much taxes, federal taxes last year? They paid $0 in federal taxes.
Yeah.
Because what most people don't know is Amazon, where they make most of their money, is actually from their server. They're like a cloud company, you know, for their servers. That's where they make most of their revenue.
I don't know what you mean by that, no.
So,
like servers, so like what they actually, like their advertising? Is that?
essentially like their servers and like because they also have government contracts because the government wants to like buy up that property because they have giant server rooms and they just have all this like electronic equipment. They have like cloud services where most of the data is held. So that's where they make most of their money, especially off government contracts. But Amazon is also what you know it for, as everybody else does, is a retail market.
Yeah.
You can buy anything off of it. So when you go on Amazon and they have Amazon's Choice, like they have certain products, it's like Amazon's Choice, and it's like listed lower than most other things.
Yeah.
The reason why is because Amazon is actually taking a loss on you buying that. So say they probably pay $90 for it, and they probably sell it for 80. They're losing $10
Yeah.
off of that. But what they do is on the tax information, that's a loss. That's a write off. So they just keep doing that until the point where their income,
They're cheating a broken system,
essentially, yeah. And they put money in like countries where there's no taxes. Like
They're also
Ireland.
so big that they're essentially a utility of the government. Because if Amazon fails, everything changes. And if there's one thing that people don't like, it's sudden
change. Yeah, we've grown too comfortable for it. I mean, it's easy to just order anything online and have it be there in a day.
Truth is, when it does change, all the sharks will come around and capitalize on that.
Yeah, they're waiting for it.
Like, I think of straight to conspiracy theories like 9/11. What happened after 9/11? The Patriot Act is put in place. And everybody is being surveilled by the NSA. All the intelligence agencies are reorganized.
They're given a green light pretty much to go ahead and follow anything that they deem suspicious, to protect national security.
If you're deemed a terrorist, they just arrest you. Some guys in a van come in and they pull up and they come in with the guns and they're like...
You see, the funny thing is they did all that information, but there've still been massive terrorist attacks in the United States.
Yeah.
You have the Boston bombing, you have school shootings. Look what happened in Vegas with that. The guy brought in fucking 50 guns to a hotel suite and mowed down like, how many people? I mean, there's conspiracy theories against that.
That one is fishy.
That one's extremely fishy. They quote unquote didn't find a cause for the reason why this guy did this. And this guy just randomly decides to bring 100 guns, 50 guns to a hotel suite and just starts mowing down. He has a camera. He has a cart in the hallway that looks at the elevator because he's at a hotel suite. The only way to get up is the elevator. He has a camera pointing right at it, and he's angled at it. As soon as they open that elevator door, he just shoots through the wood wall with the fucking machine gun. Like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like what a lot of people think is it was a weapons deal that went wrong. Because, you know what I mean? Like a perfect suite, a weapons deal between people think the FBI and people think what else is it, like Saudi Arabia, because both of those people were in town.
The truth is, for someone that does that, like goes in there and actually does shoot all those people, those are the actors in the end. Those are people that are already crazy and mentally unstable. Exactly.
Like what's his face? Lee Harvey Oswald.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. The same type, same character.
And Jack Ruby.
Yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald was the one that allegedly shot JFK, but we all know it was...
He shot him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he was a fall.
And Jack Ruby literally comes in 2 days later, this weird connected mob guy in Dallas, and he shoots Lee Harvey Oswald in the Dallas County Jail on camera. On camera. That's one of the important details. Everybody assumes and takes for granted the way in which these things happen. Lee Harvey Oswald shooting JFK using a top-down limousine. It's all set up.
Yeah.
To go back, with the Las Vegas attacks, I was in Las Vegas like less than a day before on a connecting flight back to North Carolina. And then I get back, I go to sleep, I wake up in the morning, it's like, Las Vegas, on the Strip, this happens. And I'm like, holy shit, I was just there.
Yeah.
Not really just there, I was like at a Burger King in the airport.
But still,
Yeah. That felt weird.
For sure. That was what you were in town. That was going down. That guy was bringing up 50 fucking guns, and the bellboy sitting there with the full shopping duffel bags of guns. Like, hey, how you doing? He puts a fucking 20 in his hand. He's like, damn, I just got a $20 tip. Doesn't realize that the bags he's bringing upstairs are loaded with 50 assault rifles.
I remember when I was in the airport. It's like a 1 a.m. connecting flight, and I had brought.
Where are you coming from? California?
Los Angeles, yeah. And I had brought my guitar with me on the plane, and like a total jackass, I'm in like the
You're
airport.
that guy?
Yeah, I started playing the guitar not loudly, quietly, but I
Yeah.
keep playing it, and the tension of all the people trying to sleep, like sitting around on the floor basically by their luggage, like a bunch of nomads waiting for the flight, and I'm
I'm
like,
gonna be the savior of this airport.
not even that. It was just trying to get some attention.
Yeah.
That was happening all at the same time. Yeah, it makes me really sick, to be honest, to think
Yeah.
about that shit, because people that do that are fucked up.
They never, like I said earlier, they never deemed the cause. They never found a reason for his actions.
And then it's dropped from the media, and the only people that do talk about it and discuss it are online, and they're all vilified, and it's all underground because people don't like to talk about that in the first place because of just taboos.
Yeah. But there's something there. There's truth there that nobody has
Yeah,
understood. Have you ever seen the movie Zodiac? It's about the Zodiac. You've seen it, right?
I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's essentially like the same thing. Like it just gets lost after they realize they couldn't find him. They deem it like we're never gonna
yeah,
find this. They throw it away. But that one guy who was like what a cartoons analyst for the paper that
yeah,
they published it got obsessed with it. And he kept
yeah.
researching it. People were like, "You're crazy. You're never gonna find him." At the end of the movie, he ends up finding it because he
I,
searches
I
for it.
thought they never officially found out who the Zodiac killer was because it was like in the 60s and 70s it all went down. But they think they have an idea.
They narrowed it down to one person, which they thought it was earlier, but they didn't have the right. They didn't have their evidence correctly. They overlooked a couple things, and so at the end of the movie, there's like a slideshow at the end that says that they narrowed it down to one person and who they had prior idea of it being that they interviewed him before, never convicted him, but when they went back a second time, like days before they got to him, he had died of a heart attack.
Mm. Same thing with the Golden State Killer, or my favorite term for him, the original Night Stalker.
Mm-hmm.
So in California, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was this guy in towns all over California. So basically from the San Francisco Bay Area to even down towards LA area. This guy would break into people's homes in the middle of the night, like tie up a woman or some crazy shit, rape them, like either in front of their husbands or something like that, or he'd just do terrible things and he'd do it crazy. So they found out who this guy was like a year ago. He's still alive, and he actually just got brought into court, arrested, and sent to prison for it because they were still going after him. And they found it through DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They went to this guy's trash can outside. He's living with his kids now, or sister or something. They get a Kleenex from the trash can and they positively identify him on previous evidence. Bring him in, and it's definitely the guy. And that's fucking crazy to me that they catch someone like that 50 years later, basically.
Yeah.
And he probably thinks he's never going to get caught or something like that, or maybe in the future.
Yeah, they just needed the technology back then that they didn't have today. So all that evidence is just sitting. Like look in the Los Angeles County Police Department. Do you know how much evidence is in that locker that dates back to so long? They probably have blood samples, tissue, semen samples, and then now
Yeah,
we have technology. You look up the DNA. Hey, this guy's actually still alive. He only lives 10 miles away. He's living with his fucking sister.
yeah.
Go get his ass. You know what I mean?
And then the person that helped really find the case was Patton Oswalt, the comedian's wife. And she passed away before he was caught. But she was a real pusher on trying to find out who this guy was, one of those fanatical types.
Yeah.
It's I'm going to find out this cold case and I'm going to get
They're
it.
obsessed with it.
Yeah. My favorite obsession, and this is one I've loved from childhood, not a serial killer, but a hijacker. My man, D.B. Cooper.
Yeah,
You know D.B. Cooper?
I do.
Do you know the story, though?
From what I understand, it was some guy who got into a plane dressed real nice, made a threat saying that he was going to take the plane down if he didn't get $1 million or something like that.
Yeah.
He lands, they give him some sort of money with an ink sac in it that it's not real money. He takes the plane takes back off, he jumps out of the airplane with the parachute and with the money, and then they never hear from him ever again.
And the mysterious thing, though, is that was in 1971. And that was over the wilderness in Oregon, basically.
Mm-hmm.
In 1980, 9 years later, some family's on a camping trip, and some boy in the family is digging in the riverbank and finds some of the bills still in their plastic rubber bands, just buried there. And most of them are deteriorated, but they're the only serial numbers that match like the $300,000 ransom that was given to Cooper.
Yeah.
They're completely downstream and out of the way from where they estimated Cooper jumped out of the plane, and they're buried. And they talk about this, so it's like there's no way these could have floated down the Columbia River and then just like actually
hit the side, and then like irrigation just came and buried it. Yeah.
Probably not, though, because those bills have deteriorated in the water of the river. So that's mysterious, because none of the money ever actually ended up in circulation otherwise than that. So that implies that D.B. Cooper had an accomplice. Because I've listened to a lot of documentaries on this, and most of the time the people that like favor the government story are like, Cooper probably died, or he was probably a lone person and did this with no motive or just to do it. It was a very strange case, because it's like, guy dressed nice in a suit, goes on ordering martinis, jumps out of the staircase. Yep, no, we have no idea where he went. We don't know this guy, never saw him. And again, it's 1971.
Yeah, there's no cameras.
No cameras.
Yeah, extremely odd. The only thing I remember seeing was they had an episode of Pawn Stars, which is mostly fake, but some guy brought in a bill in a case that had ink dye on it that was essentially saying that it came from the D.B. Cooper.
Yeah.
Because what they did was they obviously gave him some money, but there was a dye pack in it. Eventually, like, I believe that's some information. I don't know if that's valid or not, if you heard anything similar, but they put like a dye pack in it. And the people say that even when he jumped out, that there was a high possibility that he froze to death before he even hit the ground.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, who knows how true that is? I mean,
like the point they make is like,
the point they make is that he's dead, and wherever he landed, if it was on the ground, I feel like if it was on the ground, they would have found something.
I was gonna
They
say
would have found a bag of money. They would have.
I was gonna say, like, the parachute he chose, they gave him like three choices, like a military grade, a civilian grade, or just another one. And he took the civilian chute. Or he took the military chute, I don't remember. But I don't remember all of it exactly. Most of the time I've listened to these type of documentaries just falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's the same story I've known since I was a kid. I know D.B. Cooper, and I love him because of the movie Without a Paddle.
Never seen it.
It was like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
It's like three dude bros go into the wilderness to get into like a comedy, family-friendly adventure, and they're searching for D.B. Cooper's money. And they eventually find it. And I later found out that, what's the name of that? Burt Reynolds was in it.
Oh, yeah?
He had a cameo. One of those character actors.
Yeah, man, that's a weird fucking story. I mean, you're saying that they know for a fact that the money they found definitely came from the transaction, the money they gave him?
Yes. And that's the only money they found.
Do you know how much? They said they gave him $300,000, right? And they found how much did they say?
Probably about like $8,000.
So it was split up.
Yeah.
The money was divided.
Exactly. You make a good point.
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance D.B. Cooper survived because he had people in on it and he probably planned it out. And that he probably went and did something with the money. And they say D.B. Cooper was an older looking guy. So it's like maybe he just did this just to do it. Then again,
There's some balls, dude.
The balls and the theater of it,
Yeah.
that tells me that it's not just a crime for the money.
It's a statement.
Yes. That's wild.
Yeah, that is pretty fucking wild, dude. People are fucking strange, man. Some humans do weird things like that, man.
Yeah. Some people are fucked up like that. I'm superstitious in the sense that when I talk about things like that, I get all seized up and all that because you're talking about people's lives, you know?
He didn't hurt anyone, though. It was just a threat, because he didn't have a bomb or anything.
He did though.
Did he?
It's like a fake bomb though.
Exactly. The threat.
Yeah.
But still, it's still the action. So when he just sat there, like in his chair, gave the stewardess a note, "I have a bomb," and he just sat there the entire time. Yep,
Wearing
absolutely.
sunglasses,
Sunglasses and a suit.
smoking Benson and Hedges cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you get a couple of packs of that there?
I do. I brought the menthols and the premiums. The menthols are actually really good, but I smoked one earlier this morning and it gave me a weird feeling, though.
Why don't you like menthols, man?
I do like menthols, but this one was other taste, but it gave me a weird
Do you
feeling.
like menthols?
I
though?
do. I actually do. I smoked one of these on the way here. That was pretty good. Though I do think the American Spirits are my favorite.
Ooh.
You can have one of those later if you'd like.
I'd like to smoke one with you.
That sounds good. Try it. I'm gonna bring these up to Rhode Island. I got a couple more.
What you actually gonna do up in Rhode Island? What's your plan?
Probably gonna fucking drink a lot of liquor, hang out with some friends, eat some nice food. Probably go on a couple adventures. Probably go out in town. Maybe go to a couple
Yeah.
bars, couple restaurants. I think we're gonna go paintballing on Sunday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You should go climb Mount Washington, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, we're not fucking doing that. They said it as a joke, but I don't think that's happening. Though I do actually look forward to it. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm probably gonna look back at it after it's done and be like, man, that was a good time, and at least that's what I hope to think.
Yeah.
I don't want any regrets, be like, oh, I should have done this up there, I should have done that. So,
Yeah.
like you said, I'm just gonna go with it. There's a good Hunter S. Thompson quote: "Buy the ticket, take the ride." You know what I mean?
Ooh, yes.
So I think I'm just gonna go with that type of energy. Whatever comes my way, just take it. You know what I mean?
My favorite Hunter S. Thompson quote is that I never recommend insanity and violence to anyone, but it's always worked for me.
Yeah, I think that was drugs. He said something. I never advise taking drugs. I don't advise anyone
Yeah.
to take drugs, but it works for me.
Exactly.
Something along the lines of that. Did you ever see that movie, the one that Johnny Depp did?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What is it called again?
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, yeah.
That's
Weird
a good
movie,
one.
man. It's a good movie. It's a weird one.
I kind of see what they were going for in that, but
There's a book, right? And they did the movie off the book.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
The book itself, I've never read it, but I have read a little bit of like Hunter S. Thompson's writing. He had a very distinctive style. It was like all about like the death of the '60s and all like everything that era stood for, which is like peace, love, anti-authority, do your own thing, F the government, man. And then how it turned into the '70s and all the issues were not resolved. Everything just got worse.
Business went on as usual, like what we're
Yeah.
going through now. That's what
Exactly.
we're trying to do. We have all this I guess you could. I mean, the riots, the Black Lives Matter. I mean, COVID-19. Like we want to get past it. Like law and order. You want everything to go back to normal, but it's kind of difficult to go back to normal every day. Hoop de doop de do after what we went through. Like a pandemic that's never been happening in like 100 years. We have riots in almost a shit ton of the states.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Pennsylvania.
Fuck.
Like people are on edge, man. And when people don't have money or a job on
Stability.
any side or stability, man, they go fucking crazy quick.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. I mean, like, did you watch the full podcast with Alex Jones, Tim Dillon, and Joe Rogan?
I didn't watch the full one though.
It's actually really funny. It's extremely entertaining.
Did Tim Dillon kind of lay out the whole time though?
He actually, yeah, he played it respectively. He kind of was a mediator between the two. He played it right, but he also knew a lot of information about what Alex was talking about. So,
Yeah.
because Alex, he'll just talk and he says random things.
Alex was a real star of that podcast.
Yeah, he's a good entertainer. I'll give him that. He might not be completely right all the time, though he is kind of right. He's mostly entertainment, and he does a really good job at it. But most of the stuff he did say, Tim Dillon knew a lot about too. So Tim Dillon can present it more in a formal way where
Yeah.
it's acceptable. And he's also a comedian, and that's what Joe Rogan loves him for because
Hard for Tim Dillon to come in on a podcast like that and be like how he is on his podcast or in stand up, which is like the funny guy,
yeah,
when you got fucking batshit crazy Alex Jones next to him. And don't get me wrong, I love Alex Jones, but listening to him is kind of like taking too many pills or something. It's
Yeah.
it's really there's
overwhelming.
there's some like drugged up shit going on with Alex Jones. Or
He's just
drinking.
every room he goes in, he's the star of the room. He's
Absolutely.
the one that dominates every conversation he goes to. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I think for Joe Rogan, it's necessary from time to time. I mean, he's one of the, if not the only few podcasts that are going to bring him on, where they actually respect each other. Like they've known each other before we were born. Alex Jones and Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan has a respect for Alex Jones, but Alex Jones has done some things that discredit him and make him look bad in the media. Like they were talking about, like big tech being able to get away with censoring whatever they want, and them not being held accountable because essentially what you were saying earlier is they're a utility to, if not the U.S. government, to other people. I mean, the thing is though is the government needs to come in and enforce the First Amendment that they can't just, even though they are private companies, they can censor whatever they want. But the problem is them combined together have a net worth of over $5 trillion. Google, Facebook, Apple, they're all these giant companies, but they can essentially get away with murder.
So now you're talking about Google?
They're in on it too. We were just talking about tech companies.
You started with the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones dynamic, and then you went into their combined net worth, and then you're talking about Google.
Well, essentially, yeah. What I'm saying is these big tech companies are the ones that are censoring most other people. Like they censor. You can't lie about that. You know that's true. If you don't know that's true, then you haven't done enough reading, or they're doing their job enough, not giving you information that you're not supposed to hear.
What are you talking about, man?
I'm talking about the Joe Rogan podcast and what Alex Jones did on it. Yeah, I mean,
I didn't watch all of it, so I don't know.
You're right.
That's
I was just about to apologize for that because you haven't seen the whole thing. I did watch the whole thing in like intervals, but that was essentially the main topic of the conversation. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it because it's entertaining because they have good laughing points because you have two extremes.
It's actually a very entertaining podcast. Like the parts of it that I did see, Joe seems looser. He's still Joe Rogan, which is like huge alpha energy, but it's like you have Alex Jones on there. Has been drinking like a horse.
Yeah.
And can't be contained. And then you have Tim Dillon on there, which is like the big fat gay guy in the corner that's also happens to be hilarious. Comedian.
Yeah. And intelligent and well informed.
I like Tim Dillon.
I do too.
I'm a big fan of his podcast.
Tim Dillon Show.
You know what I'm a big fan of, Dominic?
What's that? Cigarettes?
Going to the grocery store and just not even buying things that you need. Just you go straight to the produce section, you find cilantro. You just get one piece of cilantro, you put it in your grocery basket. Then you walk around the store and act like you're going to buy something, but all you have at the end of the day is
a piece of cilantro.
Or parsley. They don't know.
Yeah.
But they look in there and they're like, maybe buy something. And you're like, I don't think I will. Then you go to the checkout lane. You get in the line. You're waiting. It's like full service lane. And they're like, "Come on, guy. You just got one piece of parsley. You can go in front of me." You're like, no, I don't have any obligations. And then you get up to the front of the checkout line. She rings you up. Nice lady. You're like, "Do you have kids?" She's like, she grunts. Really strange lady. I don't know what's going on. And then, she puts in the parsley, cilantro. She puts in the code. Next thing you know, you're selling drugs for the Colombians. You're moving up cilantro pound for pound up from Medellin. You're bringing it up on the Cessna plains through Florida.
You want to drive a Cessna? You want to deliver some drugs, some parsley? Jack Johnson's looking for a man.
Well, we'll hire him as part of the operation. Next thing you know, you're bringing the cilantro through Miami,
Yeah.
Where's
this all coming from, Jack?
Improvisation.
Very creative, I'll give you that.
Not everything has a meaning, right?
Absolutely.
Do you, though?
No.
Exactly.
Maybe not. I don't know. I know this doesn't have any meaning.
See, I gotcha.
That's how I'll give you
credit. That's how I get you.
I'm giving you credit for imagination because I know it's not true.
What's not true?
What you just said.
What did I just say?
You know exactly what you said.
I really don't.
Something about bringing in parsley for the Colombians.
Well, it started with, you go to the grocery store and you get yourself one of those shopping carts.
I think we've heard enough.
You ever trip balls in the woods?
Yeah. Speaking of that, I think I'm going to be doing some of that Sunday.
Hell yeah. I've never actually done that.
Not in the woods, just a tab of acid, though. Probably not in the woods, maybe.
I was just saying, I've never tripped in the woods. I've tripped, but not like...
Same.
I took some mushrooms earlier this year in this very place, and I start walking around. taking a long walk. It's like summer, like people are jogging, like riding bikes, and I'm just walking down the street, probably looking like a maniac, because I'm tripping,
All wide-eyed.
wide-eyed, looking at everything. They're like, "Is he all right?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, ma'am, I just took too much Adderall," and that was weird. I had to come home because I planned to walk for a long time, but it just like it was fine, but it was like, you know what I mean? You know when you get nervous on psychedelics and you feel like you need a new setting?
Yeah. You need a refresher, something to bring you back home. I always do it in a comfortable setting. I let the world come to me on that couch, my friend. I sit on that couch and I let the world come to me.
I like that. Takes a strong mind.
Ralphie May told me that one.
Ralphie May? Is that a wrestler?
You know exactly who it is. Really good comedian, man. He's missed. He was
R.I.P.
hilarious. Yeah.
Someone just passed away that was important. Let me check my watch. Eddie Van Halen.
You big Van Halen friend? Big Van Halen fan. I can't even fucking speak, dude. That's a fucking mouthful.
Oh man, when I was younger, like middle school, I listened to a lot of Van Halen, like talking like Eruption, Hot for Teacher.
I know a lot of songs. I know a lot of classic rock, but the thing is, I was telling me, yeah, dude, this is Van Halen on the guitar. Like what I like
Mhm.
about music like that is one thing my dad told me. There's a Michael Jackson song where actually has Van Halen playing the guitar. It's like one of Michael Jackson's biggest songs, and
It's
it's a
true.
Michael Jackson being pop, and he has Van Halen, the rock guitarist, on guitar. And the song is, it's not Billie Jean. It's fucking you could look it up, but it's one of the best songs because Van Halen has a tremendous guitar solo and Michael Jackson just kills it. You know what I mean?
Similar to that, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the great blues guitarist, was featured on the David Bowie track "Let's Dance."
Hmm.
You know that one?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Let's dance.
Uh huh.
Bum, 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 the
Put on your red
evening.
shoes and dance with me. Yeah.
Yeah, Stevie Ray plays the guitar and he does the solo. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That's a groovy song.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I was here what I heard on the way here that I had appreciation for?
What's that?
I think it was the Four Seasons. It was the back in '63. It's like late December back in '63. I think it might have been the Jersey Boys or something like that.
Yeah,
It was pretty groovy.
some barbershop quartet.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good for its time. I'll give it credit. I enjoyed it.
I love all that
Barbershop Quartet.
50s, 60s. The late 50s and early 60s were a weird time in American music, apparently, because rock and roll had just started to die. So you got like Elvis Presley, who's huge in the mid 50s.
Mhm.
He gets drafted in the military. And, he's like, there's like a picture of Elvis being inducted, and he's raising up his right hand, and all the other soldiers are looking at him like, this fuck,
Yeah.
But it's Elvis. Chuck Berry, the great rock and roll guitarist, got arrested, goes to prison for a bit. There's a noise again. And then Jerry Lee Lewis, the great piano player, his famous song was Goodness Gracious, Great Balls of Fire. He married his 14-year-old cousin.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
That's a little fucked up.
Yeah, and then in the media they're like, it's very, very fucked up.
I think it was it was either in the Rolling Stones or it was someone it was in the Led Zeppelin. Who's like one of like the best guitarists ever known? Jimmy Page. Jimmy
Yeah.
Page went on tour with a 14 or 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, they were all into that shit.
Yeah. What's his face? Elvis's wife was from
Elvis's wife
his
was
first wife. He went overseas and he took her home, and she was like younger than him.
yeah, something like
He made a
that.
deal with the father because my dad knew all the history.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad told me that when he was overseas in the military, he met a girl and because they knew it was Elvis Presley, so we had a conversation with the girl's father, and the father was like, "Yeah, I'll let you marry and take her overseas, but you have to promise that you'll stick with her, you'll marry her, and
Yeah.
eventually we can come to the United
Now you
States."
see what really happened
did.
was that Priscilla Presley, her name was. As far as I imagined it, what happened is Elvis is like, I want to marry your daughter, and then they're like, she's 17. And then Elvis is like, one of his goons is like, you see this big briefcase of money right here?
This is Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's type of crazy shit.
Well, he was one of a kind, man. He was as big as they got back then.
I love Elvis.
Yeah.
One of the first things I remember, like phrases learning to say imitating other people is Elvis. When he would end a performance, he would go, "Thank you very much," some shit like that. To bring it back, so that's the late 50s. It's also like you have like singers of ballads and popular music like Tony Bennett or Pat Boone, who would sing standards, and they'd wear a suit and go on stage and then go, "Let me love you, however," people are like getting tired of that to an extent. Their records aren't charting.
Yeah.
The industry's changing.
It's more or less like a romantic thing. Like you remember, you've seen Goodfellas, right?
Absolutely.
Like you go to the Copacabana and they have a table brought right up front, and there's a famous singer singing right to him. Like back then, like if that was considered a special moment. Like that entire showroom was packed with couples on a date, watching being like someone singing, serenading to you. You have champagne. It's a lost thing. It's a lost art, a lost like form of. I mean, you can still get it, but probably in only like high class establishments. Like you're not gonna go you're not gonna go to Applebee's and someone's gonna sing to you. You did that, you punch him in the face.
No, I'd do something like that.
Yeah,
I've done stuff like that. Like I've gone to like, what do you call it, karaoke nights, and I go up there and sing like songs from the '60s, like sing like Otis Redding.
Yeah.
Or sing like Ella Fitzgerald.
Just trying to please the boomers, aren't you?
No, not even that. It's more for me. Yeah, fuck you. If I can get the crowd on my side, then I feel good.
Yeah.
Like I remember going up at this one place in Carborough, really good karaoke night, and I sang Otis Redding, "Hard to Handle." And the one thing for me singing is that I'm not great at it because I don't practice. But if I can hear the backing track and like get my voice in tune with it and be like, I can be like, "Baby, here I am, I'm a man on, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time."
Yeah.
That type of shit.
Old Elvis.
I'm going to have to sing you some Elvis songs now.
We'll see. I'm going to use the bathroom if you want to take over for a quick second.
All right. My buddy Dominic's using the bathroom. We'll bring it back again because we got off track again and over and over. The early 1960s in American music were a strange time because not much was being developed musically, and all the pop charts are being dominated by like girl groups and just really shitty cover songs, basically. And then everything changed by the mid-60s. By the mid-60s, a lot of garage bands started getting together, like in Los Angeles and New York City. Basically, teenagers would get together in their suburban parents' garages, and they would play music and play on instruments, and it was like a new cultural thing. Folk music came about in New York City at that time. Something like 1961, 1960, Bob Dylan moved to New York City from Duluth, Minnesota. And Duluth, Minnesota used to be known as George Zimmerman. But in New York City, he was Bob Dylan, named after the poet Dylan Thomas. And he is a pioneer of the New York City folk music scene. Not even a pioneer. He was just there, showed up and took it over, kind of, became a big star out of it. And then, if Bob Dylan goes and he becomes rock and roll, he changes his music up, and he goes and he plays all those tunes. Do you know what Bob Dylan's first big song was, Dominic?
I don't.
His first big hit was "Like a Rolling Stone."
Really?
I'll sing.
I was a Rolling Stone.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
And when he died,
all he left us was alone. I listened to that the other day.
That was covered by. There's a group of, what was it, Temptations that covered that song?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the best version.
Yeah. How come I haven't actually heard the originals. I have a question about Bob Dylan. Like, there's so many original songs that he wrote that have been covered by so many bands, but the covers seem to be better than the original. in my
Kind
opinion.
of.
Like I can give you two, like off the top of my head, Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix, and you have the second one, like a Rolling Stone with the Temptations. You know, like
Yeah.
having two circumstances where people can listen to those, and you can honestly say that Jimi Hendrix's version of On the Watchtower, All Along the Watchtower, is it takes the show
Completely.
completely. There's no doubt about that. The Temptations, they take that song. I haven't heard the original of Bob Dylan, but I can only imagine like he's creative. Like I mean, didn't he do Eric Clapton Cocaine? Or no, that wasn't him. I
Uh,
mean, he did Cocaine. Eric Clapton covered
to
it.
bring it back to Bob Dylan, one I thought of was "Knocking on Heaven's Door" was a Bob Dylan song originally, and then Guns N' Roses covered it. It's like a latter day example, so like the '80s. Bob Dylan
Yeah.
starts in the like. The reason so many people have covered Bob Dylan songs is because Bob Dylan actually wrote standards.
Yeah.
A standard meaning a song that is so good and so popular and so resonating that a lot of other people cover it. So if you
Yeah.
know, like, the times they are changing, and like the Byrds covered it, some
Uh-huh.
rock band in Los Angeles. Bob Dylan writes like Mr. Tambourine Man.
Classics. He writes
Yeah.
classics.
Bob Dylan's great, man. And
He's had hit albums from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
yeah,
That's fucking that's incredible.
his main hits were like 60s and 70s. That's honestly what I just know him for, because like that's the bulk of his work. Like he on the few good Dylan albums are The Times They Are Changing. That's him just more folk acoustic-y. Then he changes to Bringing It All Back Home, which transitions into rock. Then Highway 61 Revisited, which is actually just Bob Dylan doing folk rock as a pioneer of it. John Wesley Harding, he goes back to like acoustic folk songs, but has a different tone to it. On the album John Wesley Harding, that's where the song All Along the Watchtower was, which was just him with a guitar and a harmonica. Jimi Hendrix loved Bob Dylan, like absolutely adored Bob Dylan.
Mhm.
Never really knew him either. Jimi Hendrix goes and covers All Along the Watchtower. Hendrix did like 50 takes of All Along the Watchtower in the studio because he was a perfectionist, and he was like, "Oh man, now I'm hearing it different, man," because he didn't want to do a Bob Dylan song dirty.
Yeah. That's respect.
It is total respect. But Bob Dylan's great, man. Another one I love is that whole era in the 60s and early 70s of American music is so good. Because
So good.
It's really good because, to make a generalization and maybe a controversial statement for people that would take it that way,
Fuck 'em.
you got back then white sensibilities and black sensibilities merging because segregation was just ending, so-called, at least in more industrial cities. So big cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, all that, and even in the South too. The music that black folks have made in this country have made the country, and it has really become the foundation of American music in many ways. It's all intertwined these days. You listen to a pop song and you try to deconstruct the elements of like what comes from hip hop and what comes from rock music, what comes from electronic, what comes from this. It just comes from people in the end now. I think more in that way because, like, you mentioned Led Zeppelin earlier. Led Zeppelin ripped all their shit.
Marvin Gaye was one of their biggest songs that they ripped from Marvin Gaye.
Which one?
Stairway to Heaven. He didn't
You
write
sound
it.
like a ding dong.
No, I'm not even kidding with you. There's a sample that they took from Marvin Gaye, and it's on like one of the biggest. I'm gonna look it up right now. I guarantee you, it's Stairway to Heaven. They sampled.
They didn't
Marvin
steal
Gaye.
Marvin Gaye songs.
Okay.
They didn't Led Zeppelin did not sample Marvin Gaye. I can tell you where Stairway to Heaven did come from and what you're talking about. He's looking it up right now, ladies and gentlemen, because it's very important.
$100 million, Forbes. Let's get it on. Cases halted for Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin, ain't no Stairway to Heaven. The hip hop. A part of of one of his pop songs was sampled, and it's "Stairway to Heaven" Cases Resumes. That's right.
I thought you were just saying that like Stairway to Heaven wasn't necessarily all original. The thing about Led Zeppelin is that Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones, who is the bassist, they were both session musicians, very prolific ones in England before Jimmy Page formed Led Zeppelin. So he played with all these other guys, and they'd go and play in these bands, and he heard all these other sounds. Jimmy Page was in a band that Eric Clapton was in at a different time, the Yardbirds, before Led Zeppelin.
What I was saying earlier about Led Zeppelin was there's a riff in one of his Marvin Gaye songs. I think it's either "Let's Get It On." There's a guitar riff in there that they supposedly was influenced to make "Stairway to Heaven." There's a part in it, and there's a giant lawsuit that was up to like $100 million.
"Let's Get It On" came after "Stairway to Heaven," though.
Yeah, hold on.
No, right. Don't worry about it.
I'm not going to worry about it. But the one that I read, you're right. It was "Let's Get It On" was sampled by Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams. That's what it was.
That. Oh, absolutely. Remember the song "Uptown Funk"?
Mm-hmm.
That's in that same vein of songs where it's like that's what Led Zeppelin did. Is basically what Bruno Mars and Robin, whoever the fuck, did with Uptown Funk.
Yeah.
You take a popular music style and you redo it in a way that's appealing massively.
Mm-hmm.
Led Zeppelin, though, was Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you know that song?
You brought out my musical arrogance there.
No, you're fine. You know, I mean, I'm glad I was corrected because I was incorrect. So, do you know the song "Good Times"?
By Chic?
I think so. Yeah, the one with the famous bass line riff.
Yeah.
Queen's, what song was it?
Another
One Bites the Dust. Yeah, you already know. That guitar, that bass line was from Good Times was inspired the bass line for Another One Bites the Dust.
Fun fact about Good Times, or it might have been, I'm pretty sure it was Good Times. The first commercially successful hip hop song was like 1979 or some shit, and it was how does it go? I'm trying to remember the band. Hang on. It samples that Good Times bass line, and it completely samples it. It's the same bass line, but they're rapping on top of it.
Yeah, what's the song?
I forget it right now. I'm gonna have to listen to it in a moment.
Yeah, it's a tremendous bass line.
I'm gonna put that on right now. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, we can't play it though because we'll get copyright infringement.
Shut the fuck up.
Nah, you want to go ahead and end it here though?
No,
No,
not yet.
Okay, well, don't play that song though.
I'm gonna play part of the song.
Yeah, you can't do that. The video might get taken down.
Stop saying that.
Is it going to? I don't want this podcast to go to waste. It's been a good one.
It has been a good one. Hang on, man.
Yeah, you can play a little of it. Just don't play a lot of it.
I got you, dude. Rapper's Delight. That's the song.
Yeah, there
you know the one.
Yeah. This is Rapper's Delight?
Yeah. Sugar Hill Gang.
That's right. Oh shit. Cowbell.
I love it. That's the bass sample.
That's a good song too.
To the boogity bang bang, the boogie to the boogity beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat, and me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am one
You want another track? Let me drink this my rum.
Up to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, the purple, and yellow. But first, I gotta bang bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the bang bang boogie. Let's rock. You don't stop, rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Well, so Now you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along. And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song. Check it out. When I pimp the dimp, the ladies pimp, the women fight for my delight. But I'm the grand master with the 3 MCs that shop the house for the young ladies. And when you come inside and to the front, you do the freak spank and do the bumping with the sucker MCs. Try to prove a point with Trent's trio. Or with the serious joint from summer to summer, from day to day.
I was gonna fade it out, but if you want to keep listening to it,
Nah, maybe we can close this out in a moment. I tried to get into like, we ran the gamut today again, as we always do with the podcast.
what do you mean?
I think my conversational ADHD and also yours.
I think you're just thinking too much, man. I don't see a problem with it.
I want to talk the presidential election that's like coming up in a few days. I haven't voted. I don't think I'm going to vote.
What's wrong with not voting?
It's a weird time to not vote in the sense that like it's like more people have voted than ever. Why aren't you? No one's asking that directly, but you see it like
Essentially everywhere. Everybody's telling you to vote now. It's everywhere.
I was listening to like an AC/DC song on Spotify, and on the album cover there's a sticker that says "Vote." I'm like, what the fuck is this?
You can't even escape it.
Yeah. This is how you're gonna reach me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in the shower and some men in a black suit are gonna come and hit me with a brick on the head and go, Biden.
Rip open the shower curtain.
Yeah.
So who are you gonna be voting for this election, Jack Christie?
Jesus.
Scrubbing your back.
SpongeBob, what are you doing in here?
And you just go, Biden. Good job. And they shut the shower curtain.
There you go. Now, I've been wanting to ask you this question for a long time. Do you want to buy some plants?
What kind of plants?
I got an apple tree that I've been dying to sell. Really sweet apples, too.
If I owned a house, I'd buy your apple tree, Jack.
If you owned a house?
I'd want to keep the apple tree.
All right, here's what you'll do, though. You'll buy my apple tree. It's a sapling right now, so no apples yet. But once you invest in it down the line, you're going to come to a fruitful profit, right?
Yeah, okay.
So
Contact me when you got the apple tree up and running.
I got it right now.
Where is it?
It's out back in the garage, all right? Don't worry about it. I got it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like $90,
No.
$100.
Nope. No apple tree purchase.
All right, so after you buy the apple tree, since you don't have a house, right?
No, I don't.
We'll just knock on some doors and be like, hey, this is my friend. He's a good man. He just bought my apple tree, and I'm going to need you to let you move in, pay some rent, you know?
Oh, if it was that easy. This guy's right here is going to move into one of your empty spaces, and he's going
to plant an apple tree in the front yard.
increasing your property value.
Now, that's a good line right there.
Yeah.
That's a real estate line.
That's what gets them to listen. And you got to help them out, scratch each other's back, you know? You got an apple tree, and I got a roof to stay under.
Yeah. No,
Come
exactly.
on.
I see. Hey, I got you that apple tree you've been asking about.
Get the fuck
An apple tree?
Where the fuck was eating all my snickerdoodles? Hey, man, I got you that apple tree.
Oh, man. I remember in the neighborhood I used to live in, and when I was like a kid, there was like some house in the subdivision that had apple trees. So I'd like sneak into their backyard and just like take apples.
Really?
Yeah, and I'd be eating these half-rotten apples because it's like some apple tree in the suburb.
There was one near that I lived in my neighborhood that would drop. If it wasn't apples, there's something very close to it, and they were always fall on the ground that would rot. But I was always interested in eating them. But they would probably kill me.
Hey, you're a kid. That's when you're meant to do it.
Yeah.
It's when your immune system builds it up.
That's why 2-year-olds don't have to wear a face mask on planes.
Are you thinking about having a family?
Probably eventually. Right now, I'm too early to know what I'm really doing. I can't even take care of myself, barely let alone
Well, you know, you need diapers, you need clothing.
I need a job that's not a felon job that actually pays decent. I need a wife. I need a house. I need a couple cars,
and an apple tree.
and
You
an
see,
apple tree.
the
They can
apple,
survive nothing with apples. Fuck groceries.
it brings it all together.
Apple pie, apple cobbler.
Yeah,
Apples for breakfast.
exactly. Apples for breakfast, apples for lunch, apple toothpaste.
Uh-huh.
Next thing you know, Dove apple body wash.
Green apples.
Yeah. If only life was that simple.
Oh, if it was.
I've been living life simple lately. It's like, all right, I get up in the morning, my breakfast is going to be 2 eggs, a piece of toast, and then a sausage patty. And then I get up in the morning, I look in the fridge, it's like, wait a minute, I didn't buy food. I guess I'll starve.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, ladies and gentlemen that are listening, my buddy Dominic just put a Benson Hedges cigarette in his mouth, a rare brand of cigarette, a fine menthol 100 luxury premium quality tobacco, indicating that he does want to end this podcast right now. He put one in my hand as well, which makes the case.
Mm-hmm. Give it a nice dry pop. Other way. That's that. I'm talking about the filter.
Yeah, filter tobacco. You ever light a cigarette backwards like an idiot?
One time.
Only one time?
Too drunk.
Too drunk?
What happened?
What's such a thing as being too drunk?
It's a messy time period, but it's essentially being sloppy with your actions, not really being able to speak coherently, and falling over yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Jack Chrissy
And Dominic Dean podcast. Thank you everybody for listening. The ones that actually tune in and give a fuck, we do appreciate you. Take care now. Next time we will speak, I will return from my vacation. We'll have much to speak about.
and I'm looking forward to it. Everybody have a good day. Peace.
Peace.